Trump's nominee for Department of Defense is under political attack. The guy is under siege. Pete Hegseth is on the track, really, of just losing it all. Okay. Now, this is very, very, very scary for a lot of conservatives out there, because when you look at it, his odds of actually being confirmed were as high as 80% only 10 days ago. And now the guy's all the way down to 31%. In fact, he's actually down to 26% as of right this second, okay? His odds of being confirmed are very low. And I'm telling you this right now. There are millions of dollars getting bet on this specific little niche issue in politics. And so you might ask yourself, how the hell does a guy who was nominated by Trump lose, he goes from 80% odds of being a shoo-in to be the Department of Defense Secretary all the way down to 26%. Millions of dollars have been put into this. So what is the real reason? And as you can see here, Ron DeSantis is blowing up on the market. Ron DeSantis was not even on the map, betting odds. And then all of a sudden, as of yesterday night, the guy goes from 0% and now Ron's at 31%. And earlier he was at 42. And so this is very troubling. What the hell could be happening with Pete Hegseth? What are the skeletons in the closet of this man? Now, if you haven't heard already, the guy has assault allegations of the sexual variety. The guy has some certain things, like for instance, they have an out of context email from his own mother from, I think, 7 years ago that says that he's abused women. Apparently there's a drinking problem as well. And so we'll see what the allegations are. Now, of course, we all know that people that get nominated by Trump that are especially patriotic, or in this case, more populist, they're going to be attacked more and more scrutinized than the other folk, obviously. So it's par for the course, just like what happened to Kavanaugh in the Supreme Court nomination of, I think, 2018, that, of course, the liberal media will try to do whatever they can to besmirch the name of these people. Now, Pete Hegseth is interesting for a couple of different reasons. So, first of all, the guy is not obviously credentialed in the first place, which I disagree with. Obviously, he has plenty of experience to be the head of the Department of Defense. But at the same time, you can see how, in the conventional sense, he's not a 4-star general or anything. Though, obviously, people like Mark Miller are terrible. Though, let's talk about this. So, NBC News also reported that Hegseth cable news colleagues were concerned over his drinking habits. But then also look at this as well. He said, okay, so Hegseth vowed newly to senators that he was meeting with in the past days that he won't drink if he's confirmed, according to Senator Roger Wicker of Mississippi. So think about that. This is kind of very, I don't know, like Twilight Zone. The guy saying, I won't drink if I'm confirmed into office, which, again, is, I mean, you could say, well, that's good that you won't be drunk on the job, but it's also like, well, but why do you have to promise this? Why do you have to promise you won't drink? And so at that point, it's seeming as if he's guilty of whatever anonymous coworkers from 15 years ago have to say about his drinking habit. I just find it kind of odd. And then the senator he told that to says, I think that's a good idea that he doesn't drink. President Trump doesn't drink. So appealing to the authority of the president, oh, he doesn't drink, so therefore, yeah, you shouldn't drink, seems emasculating. Senator Kevin Cramer of North Dakota said it'd help if Hegseth pledged to quit drinking. Apparently unaware that he'd even made the promise Wednesday. I would love that. It would help me a lot. So think about that. Now they're trying to get him to concede on drinking as an adult. Again, a 40-something-year-old man. You cannot drink if you want the job. Which is just, again, so utterly emasculating. I mean, felons can drink. Felons can drink. But God forbid, if Pete Hegseth had 4 beers on a Saturday night 2 years from now, that would not be allowed. Because Kevin Cramer of North Dakota would be upset about that. I mean, how disconcerting is that? And mind you, it could be the case that they're using oh guys, he stopped drinking, now we're going to vote for him. Now, that's my cope. Ideally, that's what they're going to do. They're going to say, well, there's all these allegations about Mr. Hegseth, but if he stopped drinking, he's turned a new leaf on this other thing. Implied, right? Of course. And so we're going to vote for him. Maybe that's the spin. But even still, to tell a guy, obscure reference here, but when Kyler Murray got his $250 million quarterback contract in the NFL, he was an Arizona Cardinals player. He had to do, it was a detail in the contract that he could not play Call of Duty for more than X amount of time, and he had to study the film of the game, which is, again, emasculating. It's like, we don't trust you on the basic level of doing your own damn job. All right, now Megyn Kelly interviewed Pete Hegseth either this morning or yesterday. And so this is the most recent update as to what's going on here. Now, he's going to have to report and have to respond to the allegations of, you know what, improprieties to women. He paid a settlement to an accuser of assault, apparently. So let's see what the hell he's got to say here. I'm curious.
Including the first one that got this whole campaign against you started, and that was this anonymous accuser. And by the way, just so the audience knows, I too have looked through all of the accusations, all of the reports against you. There is not one name, not one person accusing you of any sort of misconduct has gone on the record with their accusation. It is.
So this is interesting. Interesting. He's being accused of things by anonymous people, which is, again, I don't know. I'm a guy, a girl would probably, it'd be a better optics if a girl were to say this. But if you're doing some sort of claim like this and you don't put your name on it, it's like, okay, well then what the hell? So we're just trusting that some liberal reporter met some person that allegedly got accused by the guy. What evidence we have? I'm not like, what are we basing this off of? So, we're supposed to trust the New York Times or whoever reported this on the basis of some liberal reporter that's probably biased, obviously, off a source that they won't name.
So you have a chance to address it. So the first is this alleged rape that took place in 2017 at a hotel out in Monterey, California, where the allegation is that you were the keynote speaker at a Republican women's conference, that you were drinking into the wee hours, and that a female so-called handler of yours, who was meant to see you from A to B, went back to your room with you to shepherd you there, found herself inside the room, that you allegedly blocked the door. She, quote, remembers saying no a lot. And the next thing she knew, things got very fuzzy, and you allegedly raped her with her husband and children in their own hotel room down the hall. The police investigated. They chose not to charge. The DA did not see probable cause to charge this case. We found out from the police report certain exonerating details, which none of the media will report, like you said it was consensual, there was no drug, and she wasn't drugged in any way, and she's on camera looking totally fine. According to the police, according to eyewitnesses, and according to her own husband, to whose room she returned at 4 a.m. She was fine.
Yikes, she cheated on her husband and then blamed it on Pete Hegseth. That's, okay, allegedly. Wow. Sorry, guys, but Jesus Christ, man. That was a doozy. Oh, Jesus. Whoa.
And she was not slurring, she was not stumbling, and she apologized to him for being out, saying, I fell asleep on somebody's whatever. And that's what you say she told you she was going to tell the husband. All right, that's the setup for those who haven't been paying attention. Did you rape a woman in a hotel in Monterey?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I've been honest about that encounter, starting with law enforcement, from the beginning. I may have been drinking, but I was cognizant enough to remember every single detail. And I'm not here to say that my conduct was good. Being in a hotel room with someone that's, not the person you're with is not okay. I own up to that, and I've had to own up to that, and that's been difficult.
That's a good answer.
And my wife's amazing, and she knew about it, but going through it again is not easy. But ultimately, I went.
This guy's getting victimized by the mainstream media, half of the Senate, but imagine the fucking wife now. Now this is public again.
Went through that process with investigators, eyes wide open and honest, because I knew I had nothing to hide. It's a really unfortunate situation. And ultimately, they dug into everything, as you said. Everyone that was there, all the video camera footage, all of her testimony, husband's testimony, my testimony, and they looked into it and said, no way, we're not charging on this at all. In fact, there's other things that hopefully could come out in the future that would our team is benefiting from more information. So we always want more information coming out of this, because the more information that comes out, the more people realize what this actually was.
Okay, so that's interesting, because think about it. If you were really guilty, you'd be suppressing evidence. I mean, you look at P. Diddy. He's paying people, allegedly, to not show the CCTV camera footage of him beating, I think Cassie was the girl's name. So think about that. Of course, if you want more evidence to be out there, then clearly you're almost definitely going to be the innocent one in this case. And what's more likely? That Pete Hegseth was drunk. She was also drunk. And he did something, like abusive? Or is it more likely that this girl was, and no homo, Pete Hegseth is a good-looking guy. Let's just put it that way. So she works with Pete Hegseth to be his handler as a woman. They're both drunk. As a guy, you're horny a lot of the time, okay? So is it more likely, in this case, of course, that she just had an affair with her boss while the husband was down the row in the hotel? And she just said that Pete did that when the husband noticed that, that she was in his room for too long, I guess. He's like, honey, why were you there for so long? And then obviously, like, when your wife or your girlfriend has to, like, you can just tell, obviously, like, her hair probably wasn't in one piece. So it's pretty clear that the husband probably put two and two together. And then she said, oh, he did that. It was abusive. Oh, it's not my fault. I didn't cheat on you. I didn't cheat on you. That's probably what happened. That's my guess. That's my opinion. But anyway. Now, in this clip, as you can see in the beginning of this video, several minutes ago, you saw that Ron DeSantis has been blowing up recently, and the prediction odds for necessarily who's going to be the Secretary of Defense. And so let's see.
There was a report today, it was yesterday, it was this morning by the Wall Street Journal, and Fox News' Bill Malugin just confirmed it, saying that Trump had a face-to-face meeting at Mar-a-Lago yesterday with Ron DeSantis. I don't know that it was specifically about this, but that allegedly in that face-to-face meeting, they did discuss the possibility of subbing him in for this position, depending on how things go for you. What do you think of that possibility?
Listen, it's all the president's choice. I spoke to the president this morning. He said I'm his guy. And I'm not going to give any other information from my conversations with the president. I believe that what he shares with me needs to stay in confidence. But things were addressed, and he said, you're my guy.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So let me know in the comments below what you think about his answer there. Was that a confident enough answer? I'm very 50-50 on Pete Hegseth. I don't know. Like, on one hand, you want to believe him. On one hand, you want to say that Donald Trump has his back, that this guy's anti-establishment, this is what we need to drain the swamp, so to speak. But then again, we have the swamp still existent, still saying, we need you to kiss the ring before we nominate you, Pete. We need you to stop drinking as your own grown man self. Yeah, you need to stop drinking beer, boy. It's like, okay, well, that's emasculating. What the hell am I going to believe? And then this guy says, I won't drink. And mind you, ideally, as a binary, do I want my people, in this case, people that serve in the government, do I want them to not drink beer at all? Ideally, sure. Do I want them to, like, not eat potato chips either? I guess. But to force them not to is kind of pathetic. I don't know, kind of like petty tyrant type thing. And also, as a guy, would I ever tell another grown man, I'll pledge to not drink? That seems emasculating to me. Again, I could not even drink another day of my life. I would still not promise to not do it, though. That's very gay. It's like saying, I promise I won't play golf. It's like, I never have anyway. But to, like, promise it is kind of stupid on the premise. So in summary for this video today, I just wanted to update you guys on what's going on with Trump's Secretary of Defense nomination and the whole rigmarole that you are somewhat surprised but also not surprised to see unfold on a daily basis, okay? Now, like I said, this is really a time capsule because right now we have Ron DeSantis leading Pete Hegseth in odds of being the nominee for Department of Defense. Again, Ron is at 32%, Pete Hegseth is at 26%. People like Joni Ernst are at 13, Eldridge Jacoby, whoever that is, at 7, Mike Waltz at 5, etc. So anyway, the point being, of course, guys, is that if you take anything away from here, is just read into what's going on. Because I'm really in the gray about this. Is this Ron DeSantis, like, again, black horse or dark horse nomination really a thing? Or is this another Trump pump fake to really get his guy in, Pete? We'll see what happens. So anyways, comment down below what you think about this. Like the video if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't yet. And if you want more content, of course, more is coming. So I'll see you all in the next one. Adios.